Question 1396. Given the ability to passively view any period in history, what would you spend your time watching?
The Carboniferous.
Yeah, sometime with giant insects. That'd be wicked.
Yeah.
But then,
Cleopatra, because I can imagining hers mixing with the milk that she bathed. Oh, you didn't mean that sort of period.
Okay.
God, I was
just thinking, like, what are the rules on this? Because, like, do other people know that you have this ability? Because you could pick, like, when Jesus was around, and you could just say, "Look, mate, I'm watching it right now, and it's bullshit." But then, if no one's going to believe you anyway, then you might as well only pick something for your own enjoyment.
No one else will be able to know you're doing this.
Also, okay, so maybe the best time in history for me to pick to watch would be like next week, so I can just see what the lottery numbers are.
Yes.
Or like in the future, so I can see what happens to the value of Bitcoin or something, and then I would just know.
It's got to be something in the past.
Oh, in the past. Okay.
It did say in history, and the future isn't history, so not yet.
Can you only watch, or can you interact in any sort of way?
You could only
watch.
watch.
Like on a TV.
The future is tomorrow. The future is tomorrow's history, and it always will be.
Someone throw something at you. Santi says the Romans. Doorknobhead says the present.
The Romans is like 1,500 years worth of time. That's a long time to watch something for.
You push the fast forward button.
With or without commercials.
I was imagining, but I couldn't come up with a creative name for it, of you having a nice set-top box with a couple of hundred channels all through your period.
Yeah, they tried to do that. It was called the History Channel. Ended up just being aliens.
Yeah.
Spooky said January the 6th.
Every January the 6th has ever been.
I think you meant last January the 6th.
Oh.
Okay, I just want to get this straight. So the correct question is which period, not whose.
I know. I've got an answer. Serious answer to this,
Katie,
which is I want to watch when Pantera were touring, because I never saw them live, and I just really want to see them live. So
200 different channels of them tour of them in different venues.
Yeah, well, I've watched enough on YouTube, but it'll be different. Like, I'm presuming this is better than just watching a YouTube video. So.
Yeah, we're thinking a we're thinking big screen and
a really big screen.
Almost
wow.
like you're in it, but no one can see you and you can't interact.
Like
in a VR.
So I can't do mosh pit. No,
the town I grew up in used to have concerts, and Pantera played there. Pantera and Skid Row, and after that show, they never had concerts there again. It was so crazy. It was that was back in like the 90s.
Is that the one where what's the guy from Skid Row called? Is that the one where he got arrested for fighting the crowd? Because there was some show where that happened. Where it's like.
No, I know that Axl Rose, when he was down there, he got arrested for fighting, and he got banned from visiting St. Louis ever again. But
oh wow!
Wait there. Jeff says, "Ask Katie if that's before or after Phil Anselmo started doing Nazi salutes."
I don't think there was a time when Phil Anselmo wasn't a massive racist, but there was a time when we didn't know he was a massive racist.
Well, they all had Confederate flags and stuff, though. So
I like to listen to the music and see the live energy, and then pretend that they don't exist as people outside of that. Yeah, he's
pure objectification of the band.
Yeah, exactly. I just want to objectify.
So you do the same thing that most people do with J.K. Rowling. We like to pretend that the books are okay and the movies were pretty good, but the person who wrote them doesn't exist.
Yeah, apart from Harry Potter's not good. So.
The books weren't that good.
Well, yeah, the world building's good. The story leaves a lot to be desired.
It's fine. I think anyone should be able to enjoy it.
I am so pleased that I never read any of her crap. It's just, I feel so justified.
Justified. Did you have any intention of reading her crap, though?
I kind of thought maybe I should, since so many people talk about it, but I held off long enough to find out that I was right. You were wrong.
One of the most recent ones of these to me is the guitarist from Iced Earth, which is a really good metal band. was in the insurrection on Capitol Hill the other day.
Oh,
Which was, I mean, we already knew that he was a bit of a knobhead, but still.
Are they English?
that's what.
No, American. He's like a
Oh,
proper,
okay.
like, over the
It's
top
where you have
American.
to separate the art from the artist. I mean, because
If
there's
you
been
can.
lots of creative people throughout histories who've been absolute bastards
That-
who made nice stuff. So you can separate. There's a certain degree of separation you can have between the craft and the crafter, and you have to have that, or else we'd be burning books all the
But
time.
then
Otherwise.
saying that, like,
That-
I've talked about this with people, and then like the classic example is like, oh, you know, can you still listen to Iced Earth after he was a terrorist? And everyone's like, yeah, I guess so. And then you're like, can you still like look me in the eye and tell me you can still listen to Lost Prophets? Because I don't think most people can. He's the guy who got arrested for trying to rape a baby, by the way.
The question is there racism or paedophilia or whatever one you want to pick? Was that important to making the music? Was that part of their personality
You know what
important to the
This
art?
makes me think about is I don't know if y'all ever watched the Jeepers Creepers movies. They're really good horror movies, but the director of them, Victor Salva, he's the one who like molested all these kids in different movies that he was making, and it kind of ruins the movie for you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
there,
think-
you know
there is
that
that
was
element of
going
it ruins it for you, but I still wouldn't go and destroy the movies. I wouldn't go and we're gonna go to Hitler. I wouldn't destroy. I wouldn't burn all the copies of Mein Kampf just because Hitler wrote it, and it's the same thing.
But that's a bit different because that's literally a terrible ideology which people can learn from today. So, like, there's different between that and destroying art. Like, Mein Kampf isn't. I mean, it's technically.
Well, what about his
art.
paintings?
It's not actually art, is it? Whereas
about his
something like
paintings?
Wagner, who wrote his like operas and stuff in it from like a Nazi theme, like you can take the art out of that much easier than you can take the art out of Mein Kampf, which. It's just like
that's true, but I think the point still stands. I mean, an example of that, and it's one I often get to, because Rolf Harris was born in the city I live in. Now, Rolf Harris is a disgusting pervert, and he deserves the sentencing he got. Having said that, when he first was arrested, before he was convicted, there was a hardware store. Gordon Bennett, I can't remember the name of the suburb where he was born, where when he was still a student in Perth, he painted a mural on their wall, and they kept it there because he'd done it and it was interesting. It was a really, really good bit of art. As soon as he was arrested, they painted over it. And my point is, you could have covered that without painting over it.
This is like
the didn't want it to display,
and statue thing though, because like there could be kids in that area who like are affected by him or by other sexual abusers who have had to see this every single day. Like the best thing to do would probably be to take it off the wall somehow and preserve it in a museum.
I agree.
Because having it publicly is like I understand.
No, I agree, and I don't disagree that they could have covered it without painting over it. Is my point is that we're destroying artwork because of a thing, and the guy's not even convicted yet. It's that I do understand why they did it. I just don't think it's necessarily the right reaction to have to someone who's problematic or has done something bad. Do we take that thing that we should edit out our history because somebody did something particularly bad?
The governing body for that does the arresting and stuff is oftentimes wrong. I grew up in the city, Milwaukee, that arrested George Carlin for saying the 7 words you can't say on TV, or apparently in Milwaukee.
See, in my opinion,
Project Cherry was fairly good with what it did, though. So
with the Rolf Harris thing, it should come down. It shouldn't be destroyed, but it should come down for a period of time that any victims would be alive.
Yeah, I agree.
It also represents other victims, like in the future, I think, though, because like you could be like, oh, 100 years ago, did you know this about a child abuser? Like, oh god, that happened to me. It's horrible. So
yeah, you can't. You still can't carry pictures of Adolf around in Germany. I understand.
There's a reason for that.
Talking of the Rolf Harris thing, has anyone else encountered the gender critical person on Twitter who is all in on gender critical stuff, and also their main focus of their account, as well as harassing trans people, is defending Rolf Harris. It's so funny when they come into my mentions. I've had them several times. They come in and they're like, you're a trans person, so you hate children. I'm here to safeguard children. And then you click on their account and it's like, Rolf Harris is a good man. He should be freed. I'm like, mate, how is this your life?
God the Scummer super chatted £2. Well,
The stupid writes itself, doesn't it? That with them, it's just unbelievable.
Absolutely.
Godless Scummer super chatted £2. Rolf should have been jailed just for his music.
No, the Court of
I
King
agree.
Caracas isn't that bad.
Yeah.
Okay, two
In
words.
answer to the question, you actually brought up a good point, Katie, with the Jesus thing. Even if no one believed me, I would be interested just to prove to myself whether Jesus existed or was a myth. And if it turned out he was a myth, which is the way I actually lean towards, at least I'd get to experience the Roman period that was there at the same time. So,
But I've got
Can I go back to before the Big Bang and see how it all started?
Yes, go on, Katie.
Before the Big Bang is nonsensical.
Yeah, but
I
if you're there
realized
for,
that I was being a smart ass.
if you're there for the Big Bang, what's the likelihood that you're going to be taken out with it?
You're
So
viewing.
you're not there for it, you're just viewing it.
Go on,
So
Katie.
say you go back in time and you see the fact on your little TV, and you pick Jesus or whatever religion, and it's true, and you watch Jesus do all of these miracles, and then you come back and you I mean, even if you wouldn't want to necessarily worship God because God's a piece of shit, you would still know for a fact that Jesus was actually the Son of God and did have the powers and did die for your sins and stuff. Imagine trying to tell that to people. What's the difference between you and someone who just believes that they've been abducted by aliens? Because
Nothing
your
at all.
experience is still just an experience.
Just
It's still
yours,
an anecdote.
yeah.
And you would go mad because you would believe it. And you wouldn't just believe it, you would know it for a fact.
Yeah, and you'd have to try and tell the churches the bits they got wrong.
Maybe it's
still
all
be
right.
making
see,
leaps
that's
in
what I
logic.
would do. I would try and figure out why God was such a monster in the Bible.
Well, you'd be making leaps in logic to assume that even watching Jesus through his whole life and everything in the Bible, that's in the Bible about Jesus being real, you'd still be making a leap in logic to assume that meant he was literally the Son of God, not just telling people that there could be more behind it.
And even if he did magic, maybe he wasn't a human, he was an alien.
yeah,
God was a
With special
prick because-
abilities.
God was a prick because they had
Well,
terrible
I'd
parents.
I'd want the period of time to be just prior to his birth, so I'd want to witness this immaculate conception.
Okay, so you're basically
So Sammy
wanting
wants
to
it
go
for
fuck Mary.
Sammy wants it for the porn.
Immaculate Conception, isn't that just a mistranslation though? Wasn't it just, didn't the word originally mean just young
Yeah.
Young maiden.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it doesn't mean she was a virgin. So
Let me just catch up on the chat.
If you take the cues from John, Jesus is anointed as the Son of God, not born the Son of God. So that's
So
the whole
possessed.
point of being
Possession.
baptized in the river.
Son of God, cousin of God, third cousin of God,
Yeah.
aunt of God.
Yeah. Right, Jeff says, I go...
I'm going to
go
start introducing myself as that. Stephen Montgomery, third cousin of God, actually.
Third cousin of God, twice removed.
You could be Jesus's big sister.
Yeah.
Little sister.
I
younger.
think Jesus died. She's at least 2,000 years old.
She'd
Boy,
still be younger.
you really look good for your age.
The 2000. Jeff says, I go to Circus Maximus to study the role of lions in early Christianity.
Tasty.
Oh dear.
Nathaniel says, the week heading up to the end of the Cretaceous, including the asteroid entry and impact.
Oh, now that'd be cool to see. Yeah.
that was like a peak time to see the archosaurs. All of them were just massive at that time. The pterosaurs, the crocodilians, the dinosaurs, they were just huge at the end of the Cretaceous. You'd see some awesome animals.
Would you be able to be there and have a helicopter or something? Or
It's
Because I don't think
VR.
you
You're
run
just
away, but-
experiencing it.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Is that going on Twitter now, Katie?
You brought the arthropods back. Thank you.
Oh, I didn't realize I'd set the hotkeys up for my little OBS thing, so I was probably jumping around.
Yeah,
Had your
that's
no
all right.
mayo.
Yeah, you had your turf war background up there for a second.
Well,
With the cereal.
everyone.
Yeah, and the mayonnaise.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Turf Wars is good though.
Mayonnaise.
Katie's crabs.
Yeah, I love the turf wars. Keep doing that because it's fun to watch.
I
Oh,
have
good,
been
thank
I
you.
have been wanting to speak to you about that mayonnaise thing, by the way.
I really enjoyed hitting the mayonnaise with a hammer. It was such a fun, satisfying. I'm going to try and destroy one for every. Ugh. I'm going to try and destroy one for every video I make.
For every video you make.
What burn? Can you burn mayonnaise? Is it good enough?
Let's find out. Will it blend? No.
Low torture mayonnaise.
Well, I would think it's got an awful high oil content, and
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too.
You got a
It should
torch?
burn.
You could probably torch it.
well, okay, let's give it a try.
Hang on, is this educational?
We're going.
Yeah.
We're going
It
full
really
vegan
isn't.
by
No.
head.
Well, this
The
is
Sorry,
plastic's
stupid.
not going to
My lighter-
burn.
My lighter's out.
Dog says the Camberwick Green period. The Rage says easy. I would stay in America before European came and give the natives their lost history back.
You can't interact.
No, but he could give it back now.
Shame.
Oh, I see. I see. Yeah.
I'm so far behind in the chat. So.
Let's see. What years did you guys have that plague?
Which one?
2020.
2020. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was thinking
1918.
the black
Still
one.
in it.
Oh,
The
Black
black
Death.
one.
1400.
1600s. I'd like to go
Yep.
back to London in the 1600s because I would love to see.
Could see the Great Fire of London. Was that 1666 or something?
Okay, well
Yeah,
that'd
probably.
be interesting too. But I'd just like to see a bunch of people from London crapping on their streets.
You can do that on a Saturday evening at 4 a.m. Like, anyway. I think I've weed in the street in London. So, like, what British person hasn't weed?
I was
in
going to say, who
London?
hasn't?
They just come on.
Oh,
If you haven't
okay,
been in the street
okay.
in London, you haven't been out.
You Brits are disgusting.
I would bet Queen Elizabeth has never done that. Margaret, I'm not sure about, but the Queen.
You
Oh, Philip
think
probably has.
she was a teenager once.
Well, and she was there in World War II. That's that's possible, I
And she
suppose.
peed in the streets.
She must have.
Yeah, she must have done. I mean, I don't think she's done it in a
was
while, but
told
saying that, neither
the,
have I.
I was always told it was the French were fond of public urination.
It's
No,
not
no,
that
that's-
we're.
yeah, you know.
Wait, wait, wait.
The Trump,
You-
not the
you're
French, the
misunderstanding here.
Trump.
It's not that we're necessarily fond of it. It's just when you're pissed and you need to go for a piss, there aren't many places to go.
Don't you have
Oh, yeah,
public
I mean,
toilets, or are they all? Oh, you have to pay for them, don't you?
All
Yeah,
ones in
more than
London.
Paris does.
I'm
I think-
Australian,
Yeah.
so even the women.
Yeah, literally
Spending
spending a
up
penny is spending a penny in the UK. You have to pay to go to the public loos. It's ridiculous.
I think they tried it in America, and pay toilets were decided to be unconstitutional.
Really?
Yeah, we don't have pay ones either. So
Is it in any
you just go
little
in and
light?
use them.
All our loos, all the loos here, Wirral, went pay. All public loos went pay 30p last summer.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, so if you're trying to find 30p to have a pee, might be difficult. So I
don't know if
understand why you do
Bristol
it,
had
but
them. I think Bristol's got rid of them all. There were some in some parks, and they just closed them down.
I remember you had to pay for the ones that were the ones that were stood up ones. But there was only a couple of them around Bristol when I was there.
No. Just go and
Yeah.
Weatherspoon.
You'd be able to just like tap your Opal card or something.
Well, they're all contactless
Your
now.
credit card.
So
still, that's crazy.
What the hell was the
I
question?
can only
Oh!
think of one
You
toilet.
shouldn't have to pay.
There is one toilet. It's in a train station in Perth that you actually have to pay to go and use. I was most put out when I discovered it. I was like, You got to be kidding me. I'll go find another one. There's one stop.
I'll use it, but I'm not coming out for an hour.
One time,
Do I get a block of chocolate afterwards just because I used it or something? You know, are you gonna make it worth my while?
A warm towel, please.
one time we were in the Netherlands with my family, and in lots of those places they had like someone like a toilet guard who would sit there, and you have to give them like 30 cents or whatever to go in. And so we went to the toilets and like went in our separate toilets, and then my dad like waited with the bikes and stuff, and he went in last, and he didn't have any money, so my mum just gave him like just 30 cents he needed to go in. But he went in like the exit, and he just put the money into the basket, and the person wasn't paying attention. So then when he came out, the person thought he was trying to come in, and they like stopped him and tried to get money off him. But they were speaking Dutch, so he had no idea what was going on, and he didn't have any money. So then they started causing a scene, and there was all this big queue of people. We like looked over, and my dad was like arguing with this person in Dutch. We're like, oh, God's sake.
Do you think it's because you have to pay for it? You have to pay for it in the toilet. Jeepers, can I have phrased that any better? Do you think it's because you have to pay to use the toilet that turfs care about it so much in the UK?
No,
it's just all bullshit.
it's basically public service.
It is all bullshit. I know.
No, I don't know. I haven't paid for a toilet. Did you just go in the pub? Like, pubs are usually open, and when the pubs are closed, means you can wait on the street. I mean, that's just like the rules.
That's the rules. If the pubs are closed, you pee in the street.
But if the
there is no way. There is no way I could imagine squatting in a street. No.
Really? You've never weed in the street? Are you serious?
You're Australian. How have you never weed in the street?
weed in the street.
I have never. I mean, even before surgery, I never weed in the street.
I have after surgery, and like it's only been a year, and it's been locked down the whole time.
But to be fair, the pubs have been more likely to be closed.
Yeah, exactly. Well, then there's 3 times I was wrong, because there's when the pubs are open, you go in the pubs, and when the pubs are closed, you go in the street. Apart from when shopping centres are open, then they usually have free toilets. So,
I have never ever weed on the street. That would be just so. I just not emotional.
I know all of the places to go in Bristol to wee on the street.
Oh, I'm sure there's places that you could get privacy, but just I would be so frightened and so.
What happens when
all these old tapes of morality would just pound through my head and make me crazy for a week? Yeah.
But what happens?
Yeah, maybe it's our age, Jen.
You've been drinking in the pub, and you're like 8 drinks in, and it's 4 a.m., and then the pub closes, and your mate's like, let's get some more drinks. And then you go and sit in the harbour side, and you're like, oh my God, I am about to explode. Then you need to know where to go, don't you? You need to know that one of the security cameras in this hotel right next to the harbour side is pointing across, so it can't see you if you wee right underneath it, under the bush.
I don't.
Pro tip for any Bristolians.
But you see, where I grew up, that once the pubs closed, everybody went to one of the nightclubs, and the nightclubs were open till like 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. And after that, if you were still out drinking, the taxi rank had public toilets that were open all night, and there were several other public toilets in this area that were open all night, so you could just go and use them.
What time?
Katie, I had the swipe card to the Regis building next to the fountains. That's where we went.
Exactly. I think every British person knows the nearest place to them where they can wee in the street all the time.
It blows my mind. That absolutely blows my mind.
Can I just ask a question here? What has this got to do with any time periods in history?
I don't even know how we got into this, but hey, it's been interesting conversation.
I started it. I assumed that it was only in ancient days that Londoners would have been caught dead pissing or shitting on the streets.
That's right.
And it turns out it's just common practice.
I wouldn't have a shit on the street. I'd piss on the street, but I wouldn't have a shit.
No, I
didn't have to spend all that money on toilets and stuff.
2 of my friends who assist women who have pooed in the street. So.
Oh, okay. You just got worse.
I'm not going to name them.
You're not going to name them.
I've pissed on the ground when I'm camping.
Before.
Do you know what? Wait. Do you know what? I think I'm going to move to the next question. Skip the end of this question because it's relevant.
This one.
It's relevant.
So the period in history is anyone where people aren't pissing in the street.
There is no period of history that wasn't going on. If there were people, they were pissing in the street.
You can go back before there were people, though. Those are the best times.
Yeah.
There was
Go
something
back to
pissing in the
before there were
street.
people.
Yeah, but then technically there's no streets, so does that really count? Because then they
What about
could-
ancient aliens, though? They made civilizations.
Yeah.
Come on.
They didn't pee in the streets. They had it teleported out of them like in Star Trek.
Or
No,
like
they
in
just didn't care.
Harry Potter.
And deer and stuff take the same route.
Picard to engineering, 1p to teleport out. Thank you, Mr. O'Brien.
Animals create their own pathways because they move through the forest in their same places over and over and over.
Effectively
Badgers do
streets.
that.
Game trails.
Yeah, in fact, a lot of American streets are set up based on deer trails.
If you enjoyed that, please hit the thumbs up button. If you didn't, hit the thumbs down. If you think you've got a better answer or just want to tell us how wrong we are, leave a comment down below. Subscribe down here for new questions every day and make sure you hit the bell so you don't miss out on our live shows. If you click over here, you'll see our latest upload. Over here, for what YouTube thinks you'll love the most. And finally, for a complete playlist of all our currently released questions, click here.